Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever I may be watching or listening to me from. My name is Ayoti, and this is the Niger FC Podcast on Eagle Striker, the home of Nigerian football. It's another week, and I have another exciting episode for you. In this episode of the Niger FC Podcast, we're going to be doing a review of the past weekend's action. Of course, we'll be highlighting Nigerian players that have performed well over the weekend, with, of course, focus on some players who were especially impressive. We would also get into the allegations of misconduct against the Nigerian player that have now been cleared. We'll get into some drama that occurred in the Nigeria Premier Football League. We'll talk about the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the upcoming friendlies. And then we'll get into an unfortunate incident with a Nigerian player who has been officially sentenced to prison, but of course is appealing the decision. And then we'll get into comments made by our own Alex Iwobi regarding the NFF that has gone quite viral on social media and sparked a lot of conversation. And yes, we will talk about the sanctions against Nigeria and DR Congo as we continue to await the verdict of this appeal, of this complaint, of this petition that we raised against the Democratic Republic of Congo ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. So grab your cup of coffee, grab your popcorn, grab your tea, grab your wine, juice, soft drink, whatever you like, and enjoy this episode of the Niger FC Podcast. First things first, I'll let you know for today is going to be just me. Smith Lai is unfortunately unavailable, but even though it's a solo mission, I'm not new to solo missions, and I have to bring you an exciting episode nonetheless. Let's start with a review of the past weekend. So, Eagle Striker, we followed hundreds of games over the past weekend, and of course, several Nigerian players have performed well. I'll start from the goalkeepers. Arthur Okonkwo kept a clean sheet, made 3 saves for Wrexham. We had Joshua Oluwayemi with a clean sheet, only having to make 1 save for Wellington Phoenix. Francis Uzoho also kept a clean sheet for Omonia in Cyprus, and then Maduka Okoye with 7 saves for Udinese as they fell to a 1-0 defeat against Juventus in Italian Serie A. For the defenders, Isaac James created 2 chances, 1 2 tackles, and 1 6 goals for Alverca. In Portugal, Gabriel Osho kept a clean sheet while creating 2 chances and winning 8 goals for Cardiff. Jordan Torunariga with 2 blocks and 7 clearances for Hamburger. Emmanuel Fernandez, a clean sheet, 4 tackles, 1, 8 goals, 1 for Rangers in Scotland. Calvin Bassey, a clean sheet, 2 tackles, 1, 7 goals, 1 for Fulham. Chibuike Nwangu, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances, 5 goals, 1 for Trabzonspor in Turkey. Leon Balogun was on target for Aris Limassol. And then Shukura Toladiko, 2 tackles, 4 goals, 1 for AS Roma women in Italy. We also had Ryan Albiosu with 1 assist, 2 dribbles completed, 4 goals, 1 for Blackburn Rovers in England. Samuel Shife, 3 chances created, 12 goals, 1 for Slavia Praha in the Czech Republic. And then Olaoluwa Aina Temitayo with a clean sheet, 4 tackles, 1, 7 goals, 1, 10 clearances, man of the match for Nottingham Forest in England. Over to the midfielders, Wilfred Ndidi, 1 chance created, 3 tackles, 1, 4 goals, 1 for Beşiktaş in Turkey. Bumi Elizabeth, 1 goal for MFK Zalgiris. Rilwan Popola, 1 chance created, 4 goals, 1 for Kisvada in Hungary. David Moses with an assist for Slavia Praha in the Czech Republic. Al Hassan Yusuf with 1 goal and 2 chances created for New England Revolution in the MLS. And then Onuachu Ogbelu, 1 tackle, 2 interceptions, 2 clearances for Esperance de Tunis in the CAF Champions League. Moses Uso created 5 chances for Lask in Austria. Emeka Ogu, 2 goals for Abahani Limited in Bangladesh. Raymond Adiola with 1 goal and 1 assist for Serikspor in Turkey. Over to the forwards. Onyeka Okafor scored a goal for Fortis in Bangladesh. Jesse Sekedika 1-1 penalty for Sabah in Azerbaijan. Christian Umachuku was on target for Serikspor in Turkey. Solomon John with 2 chances created for Mlada Boleslav in the Czech Republic. Chinaza Uendu off the bench to score 2 goals for Melbourne City in Australia. Francis Eze got 1 assist for Ankara Kekerungutru in Turkey. Emmanuel Ayosi with 1 goal and 1 assist for MFK Kavrina. Abatsi Samaila with 1 assist for Skalika. Olamide Adugbe scored 2 goals for MFK Zalgiris. Hafiz Umar was on target for Stade de Reims in France. Josh Maja was on target for West Bromwich Albion. Paul Onuachu scored 1 goal for Trabzonspor. Victor Osimhen was also on target for Galatasaray. Chisom Egbuchulam came off the bench to score a goal for Detroit City in the USA. Olakunle Olusegun was on target from the penalty spot for Paris MN in Russia. Mustafa Issa scored 1 goal for Kristiansund BK in Norway. Tosin Kehinde, 1 chance created, 3 dribbles completed, 4 goals on for Bandırmaspor in Turkey. Untugusi Efyong with 1 goal for Punjab in India. And then Promise Me Liga scored 2 goals for Kristiansund BK in Norway. That was many mouthfuls, or many mouths full rather. But yes, those are the Nigerian players performed across the world in different leagues from North America to Europe to Asia, to Africa, and everywhere in between. Oceania as well, we got there. So yes, fantastic performances from several Nigerian players. Before I dive deep into the performances of certain players, let me know in the comments, man, who impressed you? Who did you watch over the weekend and you were really, really impressed by? Who did you watch over the weekend that you were really impressed by? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments real quick before I dive into the performances of a few Nigerian players. Who impressed you over the weekend? Who impressed you over the weekend? Paimoyo says that real one guy is a prospect. John Jones says, watch out for Promise Me Liga. Charles says, happy for Promise Me Liga. Taiwo Knade says, Promise Me Liga impressed most. John Jones says, Promise Me Liga and Ima Ayosi. Odubayo says, Victor Osimhen. Anybody else? Via Moment, Ola Aina. Yes. Shout out to Via Moment for that one. I was particularly impressed with Ola Aina. I can't even lie. I was particularly impressed with Ola Aina. What a baller, man. What a baller. And he's one of the people that I want to talk about. But yes, let me not take too much time. Let me get into highlighting some of my top performances from the weekend. I'll start with a Super Falcons player. She hasn't been in the team for a long time now. Chinaza Uendu. Chinaza Uendu is now playing for Melbourne City in Australia. She's playing down under. And of course, after suffering some serious knee injury, she's trying to bring her career back to full speed. She's trying to do really, really well. And she came off the bench this past weekend to score 2 goals, which, of course, we can't knock her for it. One of the goals was a header and one was a long-range effort. I'm going to show you her goals now.
Not away, but she'll retain possession. Ball high into the box, and Chinaza Uendu on for just less than a minute. Get the 3 points at home. Uendu kept herself onside. Can she get a shot away? She does. Uendu! Chinaza Uendu!
So yes, Chinaza Uendu, 2 goals off the bench, 1 from long range with her left foot. Can't knock her at all, man. I'm just happy for her. I'm excited for her. Whenever a player has a timeout with injury, especially a lengthy timeout, I'm always looking forward to the player just coming back and finding their feet. And she scored a goal a few weeks ago. Then she was kind of not really at her best again. And then, of course, she bagged 2 goals this past weekend. So shout out to Chinaza Uendu. I hope that she can stay fit. The second goal was an absolute banger with her left foot from distance. And, just to come off the bench and score 2 goals, incredible one for her. And I hope that she can keep it up. I can see people are saying, yes, that second goal was fire. What a goal. Yes. It was a fantastic goal. Also moving forward, let me highlight another player that some people have already said is one to watch. Promise Me Liga. On his debut for Kristiansund in the first game of the Norwegian Eliteserien season, 2 goals off the bench. This team were losing 2-1. He came off the bench. He scored the equalizer to make it 2-2. And then in stoppage time, he scored the winner to make it 3-2 and to bring it home for his side. A fantastic performance for Promise Me Liga off the bench. He's only 18 years of age. The boy plays with a lot of aggression. The boy looks like a player that wants it. And I'm really looking forward to keeping up with him throughout the season and seeing how he actually performs. But as far as this past weekend, scored 2 goals. And I have the 2 goals here for you, for you guys to check out and see. So yes, one goal was just born out of pure intensity, pressing from the front and being able to capitalize on a mistake from the defender and scoring that goal. And then the second goal was, from a set piece, the ball into the box from him, being in the right place, finishing very, very well. And yes, it would be fantastic. It would be fantastic if the boy can continue playing like this throughout the season. At 18 years old, he's one to watch, he's one to pay attention to, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how he performs throughout the course of the season. So shout out to Promise Me Liga. Of course, Mustafa Issa was also on target in that game. I should just point that out. Another Nigerian player that performed well in this time in Austria was Moses Uso. I don't really have the clips for you, but Moses Uso, he did very, very well. He ran the show for his team, for LASK. 5 chances created, was taking the set pieces. He has a very dangerous left foot. He's composed on the ball. He dribbles with the ball well. And he's a nice player to watch. So shout out to Moses Uso. Good performance for him, and of course, I hope that he can keep it up. I watched him throughout the season so far, and he's been doing quite well. Moving forward, let's get into some of the more known players. Man, I was looking at the comments on social media after this guy played, and the fans of his club were just saying, we finally have him back. He is finally back from AFCON. These are what people were saying. I'm talking about Ryan Albiosu. Returned to his pre-AFCON form for Blackburn Rovers in their game against Millwall, driving up and down that right flank. He got an assist. He completed 2 dribbles. He won 4 goals. He helped his team to secure, I think, was a 2-1 victory for them. Just a very, very good performance, making interceptions, covering spaces. He did very, very, very well. Of course, Ryan Albiosu, the reason why he got into the Super Eagles team and he went to the AFCON is because of what he was doing early in the season for his club, Blackburn Rovers. After coming back from the AFCON, kind of took a little bit of time to get back to rhythm. Was on the bench for a little bit, wasn't playing at the highest level when he came off the bench, when he came onto the field. But this past weekend, if you do have the opportunity to find his clips from the game, go and watch, because Ryan Albiosu put in a very, very good performance for Blackburn Rovers, and I really do hope that he can keep that level for the rest of the season, so that he keeps starting every single match, and so that the match friendlies are coming up, he probably is going to be there. But just in case there's engagement for us in June, I'm sure that he would want to be part of that engagement in June. So he needs to keep it up, because Ola Aina is back now. So there's competition. There's competition. So if he wants to be part of any potential engagement in June, then he needs to keep it up for the rest of the season. He really needs to keep it up for the rest of the season. But yes, I was impressed with Ryan Albiosu's performance over this past weekend. Let's talk about another player. This player has been out of the Super Eagles squad recently, but of course, we know that he's a quality guy. His absence has been for a host of different reasons, and he gave us another fine performance this past weekend. I'm talking about the goalkeeper, Maduka Okoye. Maduka Okoye was between the sticks for Udinese in their Italian Serie A match against Juventus. Of course, Juve, a storied club, not the best Juve that we have in the world right now, but we still know that they have some quality players. And of course, Udinese is not the biggest team in the world. Maduka Okoye was tried, he was tested, and he made 7 saves in this game. Unfortunately, he was beaten by 1 goal that was a 2v1. They squared the ball, tapped it in. But Maduka Okoye made some fine saves. I'm talking about some fine saves. He made 1 save from long range where he stopped it with, I think, his right hand. And then he made 2 saves from inside the box. Close range. I'm talking 6 yards, 7 yards out. And he made the save. 1 was with his foot, the other one was with his hand. Just very sharp reflexes. Maduka Okoye has been balling so far this season, so it really does not surprise me. But I know that there are some people that are still not convinced about him. Some people feel like, oh, well, but he did not save the one against Tunisia. Yes, we get it. But we need to call out quality performances when those performances are had or are made. And Maduka Okoye has been balling this season and balled very, very, very well again this past weekend for Udinese. Unfortunately, they lost that game 1-0. But trust me, if it was a different goalkeeper and goal and no Maduka Okoye, that could easily have been 3-4-0. So I have to give him his plaudits. I have to give him his credit. I cannot show you the one from the Italian Serie A because if I show you the video from Italian Serie A, go take 10 seconds, then go block, then go block my account. I was able to show the ones from the not so popular leagues that are not as strict with people just showing clips of their league. But the Italian Serie A, they are very strict with it. So unfortunately, I'm not able to show you the clips. But if you have the means, if you have the opportunity, go and watch Maduka's saves against Juventus. Fantastic one. I think two of the close range saves in particular that impressed me, but there was one from long range as well that he saved. Covers his near post well, has his angle right a lot of the time. Just a fantastic display from Maduka Okoye, and his weekend performance was top notch, and I hope that he can follow up with more quality performances throughout the season. Okay, moving forward quickly, I have about 3 more performances to talk about from the past weekend. Ola Aina, Temitayo. Oh man, Ola Aina is such a baller. Like when Ola Aina is playing and is enjoying his football, you can tell. You can tell because he's just gliding across the park. He's running forward. He's coming back. He's going into midfield. He's taking up spaces. He's crossing balls into the box. He's taking shots. 4 tackles won, 7 goals won, 10 clearances, 1 goal-saving block with his head, 1 shot that cannoned off the crossbar. I wish that goal went in. Of course, I cannot show you the clips from the English Premier League either because the Premier League are very, very strict with the use of their content. But it was a fantastic display. He was named the man of the match. His first man of the match award in the English Premier League. So congratulations to Ola Aina on that one. It was a very, very, very good performance. And look, not to compare, not to knock anybody, but when Ola Aina is on his day, like I've said this many times, I think he's the best fullback that Nigeria has. When he's playing well, when he's fit, when he's enjoying himself. In the last game before this weekend, Ola Aina considered, the team considered a goal, but he was at fault for it. He kind of slept off from a cross that came into the box, and he let them, get in behind him and score a goal. And I think they lost that game by that single goal. In this match, you could see that he had learned from what mistake he made in the previous game, because they tried a few times to cross the ball in his direction and he was quite good in his aerial duels. There was even one that Alex Iwobi is the player that tried to take advantage of it and cross the ball towards the line for his teammates to attack. And I was saying, I see now your guy, they tried to do you. But Ola Aina was very aware. You could see that it was on his mind this time that he cannot slip from these set pieces, that he has to be on top of things. And I thought it was a fantastic man. What a baller. Ola Aina, look, I love watching him play. He glides on the field. He looks so good when he's on his day. Shout out to Ola Aina, man. Forest, I hope that they can survive the drop, because we have 2 Nigerian players there. But I really hope that they can survive the drop. Somebody says, Ayoti, if that goal went in, don't you think your guy or our guy, Calvin Bassey, would have been blamed? Probably. Maybe you say Bassey could have closed him down better. But it didn't go in. Ola Aina doesn't get the screamer. Bassey doesn't get the blame. But yes, it was a Nigerian affair, that one. Look, and this is why we want our Nigerian players to be in the best teams, in the best leagues in the world. Because for me to watch an English Premier League match and 5 out of 22 players on the field at some point were Nigerians, it's not an NPFL game. It's an English Premier League game. And at a given moment, 5 out of 22 are Nigerians. It's something that makes me happy. I know to some other countries, they see it happen all the time. It's not a big deal. But for us, Nigeria, I think it's a big deal when we have 5 Nigerian players on the field at the same time in an English Premier League match. Ola Aina, Taiwo Awoniyi, Alex Iwobi, Calvin Bassey, Samuel Chukwueze. Oh man, in the best league in the world, 5 Nigerian players on the field playing, together and against each other. It's just fantastic to see. Fantastic to see. And the fact that Ola Aina was able to win the Man of the Match award in that one, I think it's just even the icing on the top of the cake, So I was very, very happy. Honestly, regardless of who won that game, I would have been happy. Maybe it just made sense that the match ended 0-0, but no, fantastic one, man. Shout out to our Super Eagles players. Keep making us proud. Okay, moving forward, let's talk about our star boy, our best player, Victor Osimhen. Man. Look, Osimhen is one of those guys that he doesn't need so many touches of the ball, but when he does get a touch of the ball, he can produce something very, very special. And he was so close to scoring one of the best goals that you would have seen in this 2025-2026 season in Galatasaray's last match against Başakşehir. Unfortunately, it cannot off the crossbar. He eventually got his goal. Deflected efforts went into the back of the net. I think he had about 3-4 shots in the game. Working hard to get on the end of crosses and set pieces into the box, linking up with his teammates 1 or 2 times during the match as well. Victor Osimhen is a baller. We all know that. But boy, had he scored that goal, that effort, that overhead kick, what a goal it would have been. And in case you haven't seen it, here it is.
Barış Alper tekrar soluna çekiyor. Uzak noktaya. Genişine. Üst direk inanılmaz. Havalandırdı. Ceza alanına doğru. Göz kontrol. Gol şansı vurur.
Man, that overhead kick. Just imagine if that shot had gone in. Victor Osimhen, man, who are you? When the English fans are chanting, who are you? I'm just like, Osimhen, like, who are you? Whoever you think you are, that's who you are. Whoever you think you are, that is who you are. Had that shot gone in, I will be talking about that goal for hours. I'm still using about 5 minutes to talk about it now, even though it did not go in. So imagine if that had gone in. What an effort from Victor Osimhen. You could see him lining up for the acrobatic effort. He has, Osimhen has tried this thing multiple times now in the past few years. If you remember the one that he tried against Nigeria that he didn't score, got a lot of criticism from a certain pundit. Osimhen came out and kind of dissed the pundit as well. I'm not going to name names, but if you were paying attention, you would remember and know who I'm talking about. And practice makes perfect. Like, he's kept on trying, and he has scored one of recent. He nearly scored this one. And of course, I love players that take risk. Take risk and succeed. Like, take a chance. Try something out of the ordinary. Try something that could potentially be spectacular. Because if you don't, you will never achieve those great things, those great moments. When players miss certain chances, as far as it's not like you ignored something that was obviously better. If you miss certain things, I'm like, you know what? Kudos to you for trying, man. Because look, if Rooney never tried that overhead kick against Man City, that goal would not exist. If Ibrahimovic never tried that goal against England, that overhead kick, we wouldn't have had that glory moment. If Rooney never shot from the halfway line, we would never have had that moment. If Sunday Olise didn't just take a shot against Spain, we would never have had that moment. If Alex Iwobi didn't take a shot against Zambia, we would never have had that moment. So some of the best moments in football come from players just daring to just take a chance. If the ones that end up in Rosie, we laugh, we move on. But the ones that end up in the back of the net, we remember for years upon years upon years. So, Osimhen, man, keep trying your thing. Keep doing your thing. Keep trying to be special. And I love watching Victor Osimhen play. In this game that they played this past weekend, I think in the entire match, maybe he had less than 15, 20 touches of the ball. But each of his touches was very meaningful. Either linking up with a player, getting a shot, trying to score, or hitting a crossover with a spectacular effort, or eventually getting his goal. So Victor Osimhen, man. And you're a blessing to Nigeria. You're so interesting to watch. Kudos to Victor Osimhen. I love watching him play. And the days that he's on his form, he's very, very exciting to watch. He's very, very exciting to watch. Okay, finally, last but not the least, we are still in Turkey. And of course, if we talk about one player in Turkey, we have to talk about another player in Turkey, the one that cannot stop scoring. Tall Paul Ebere Onuachu. Look, I've spoken about Onuachu for about 8 consecutive weeks on this podcast, but in fact, that's not enough because Onuachu has now scored for the 10th goal, for the 10th game. Sorry, Onuachu has now scored for the 10th game in a row, marking 21 league goals so far this season. That is no small feat. That is no mean feat. To score, I don't care if you are playing in your backyard league. I don't care if you are playing in your school league, if you are playing Sunday league football, if you are playing in Albania, in Armenia, in Qatar, in China, in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, in Nigeria. You don't score 10 games in a row unless you are a baller that is doing something right. And Onuachu at the moment looks like he's doing everything right. Whether it's a headed goal, it's a dribble and a shot, whether it's a spectacular effort, or whether it is an easy tapping like the one that he scored this past weekend, Onuachu is in the right place at the right time and keeps on scoring for Trabzonspor. Before this match, the coach of the opposition team, Kaiko Rizespor, he said it that, look, it is going to be hard for us to handle Paul Onuachu, and maybe he jinxed himself, but not really because he has been doing this against everybody, even though I did not speak about him before the game. Onuachu on target once again, 21 league goals for the season, the top scoring player in the Turkish Super League. Out of my heart to you, Paul. Man, keep doing your thing. I know that some people don't like Onuachu because of the times that he played for Nigeria and he did not impress them. I know some people don't like when I'm waxing lyrical about his performances. Some people don't like when he's getting so much praise. When he made the comment at that time talking about the no paid media, a lot of people took offense to it. But boy, the guy is balling. And if other people might not talk his talk for him, let him talk his talk. And I will join him to praise. I'll join to praise him because look what Paul Onuachu is doing. It is amazing. I don't know if there's any Mary Smith Lai would have known if he was here, but any historical person that follows this record and everything. When was the last time a Nigerian player, whether home or abroad, let's even include home, scored in 10 consecutive matches in all competitions? 10 consecutive matches. When was the last time? Maybe somebody has the answer. Maybe it has never been done before. I'm not sure. But I think that it is a feat that is worthy of praise, regardless of who did it. And the fact that Onuachu continues to ball for Trabzonspor this season is very, very impressive. They are third on the log. Osimhen's Galatasaray, of course, topping the table. But nonetheless, maybe Osimhen wins the league, Onuachu wins the top scorer award. They share it. And I think that I personally, as a fan, will be satisfied if they can share it like that. It might be too little, too late for Trabzonspor as a whole to catch Victor Osimhen's side. So they can just share it like that. Onuachu gets top scorer and Osimhen with Galatasaray wins the league. So there you have it, man. Those are my thoughts on the different Nigerian players and the performances over this past weekend. There you have it. Okay, I'll take a quick break to just remind you guys to hit the like button on this video. We still have quite a few topics to cover. I know some people are asking, we will get to it. We have quite a few more topics to cover. So please just take this moment now and hit the like button. Less than half of you guys that are watching have liked the video. It takes you only 5 seconds max of your time to just press the like button. Whether you're watching on your phone, your computer, your TV, there's a like button. Trust me, you just have to press it. You know, it goes a very, very long way for the channel. If you are new here, welcome. Subscribe so that you can enjoy more of our content. We are live every week. We have loads of other content that you can enjoy on the channel. We're constantly uploading stuff. So please make sure that you subscribe if you are new here. And also, if you want to join and enjoy exclusive content, enjoy some members-only videos, enjoy early access to certain interviews and stuff that we do, make sure that you join the channel as a member. It costs you a little bit of money. There are 3 tiers of membership, but the members enjoy the perks, including priority responses and comments on live streams like this. And I see that a comment here from Odubayo Obalaji. It says Ogbeche in India. Odubayo is a member of the channel, so you can be like him and join the channel as a member. And then Charles gave me a fantastic idea for a new members only video. So watch out for that one in coming days. And if you have a question to ask, make sure that you send it with a super chat. I have a question here from Charles. He says, IoT, what of parable all of Parobo's progress. How is he doing? Of course, he's asking about Parobo Arieri, player for Lillestrøm. He came off the bench in stoppage time in this last match on the 15th of March for Lillestrøm. Didn't get enough time to play for me to really talk about him. In preseason, he scored 4 goals in about 5 or 4 preseason matches. So we're hoping that this season can be a breakout season for him. Last season, he played 16 games. He scored 4 goals, so we're hoping that he can do more this season. Unfortunately, only got to play 1 minute in the opening game of their season for Lillestrøm. But let's see how it goes. They won that game 3-1. I think they have another game in 6 days against Bodo Glimt in the Norwegian Cup quarterfinal. We've been seeing what Bodo Glimt have been doing to teams in the Champions League. So if you are a betting man, you probably bet on Lillestrøm to lose that one. But maybe Parobo can get some game time in the cup. And who knows, maybe he can just lead his team to an unlikely result. We have to wait and see. We have to wait and see. But yes, we have to wait and see. But thank you for that super chat and thank you for that question, Charles. Parobo Arieri, we'll keep tabs on him throughout the course of the season. Okay, let us get into a little bit of NPFL drama that happened. If you've been paying attention on social media, you would have seen the news that Uche Collins, a striker for Katsina United, was declared missing. AWOL apparently had just vanished from the team's camp. Katsina United themselves posted it on social media, and it begged a lot of questions that, why do Nigerian players run away from their team? When it's time for them to get trials in Europe, they run away. And I thought that we will be talking about it in depth today, but the situation kind of changed because what was lost has now been found. Glory be to God. He returned to action this past weekend for Katsina United, and what a way for him to mark his return. He scored a goal. He scored their only goal in the 1-1 draw against Kanemi Warriors. So look, when I saw the news initially, I was just laughing. But I'm happy that at least the guy has come from wherever he went. He has come back to the team. He's their top scorer, so they've reintegrated him into the team, and he was able to score for them. They drew the game, So there's not too much for us to talk about again on that note. Uche Collins has been found. He's back in action for Katsina United, and of course, he, hopefully they don't lose him again before the season ends. But yes, just quickly on the NPFL, Rivers United, top of the NPFL with 52 points after 29 games played. They lost 1-0 to Ikorodu City earlier today, but they are still top of the NPFL. Rangers International, second with 51 points, 30 games played. And then Ikorodu City are third with 48 games played. Nasarawa United and Shooting Stars just behind them, 47 points each. Albiosu Warriors, 46 points in sixth. And then going to the bottom of the table, we have Kun Khalifa with 32 points after 30 games played at bottom of the league. Remo Stars, the defending champions, on the verge of relegation, 33 points after 30 games played. Kora United also on 33 points in 18th. And then Wiki Tourist with 35 points after 30 games played in 17th. So it is heating up. The relegation battle is on. The championship battle is on. Rivers United currently leading the way. They have a game in hand. They are 1 point clear of Rangers International. So we'll keep tabs on the NPFL and see how the season wraps up. Okay. Moving forward, another quick one to talk about. A Super Eagles player who was accused of alleged match fixing by his club has now officially been cleared. Of course, I spoke about this when the allegations were made, so I felt like it is only right for me to come and speak about it now that his name has been cleared. I know that, good news never travels as far as bad news, but I hope that at least for my audience, I can let you guys know that Obasogie has been cleared of all wrongdoing by his club, Singida Black Stars in Tanzania. Unfortunately, he still hasn't been able to get on the field since the incident, and his initial suspension, but he has been cleared of all wrongdoing. He did not fix any match. He did not commit any fraud. He did not do anything illegal, and hopefully people know that. Obasogie has been cleared of all potential wrongdoing, no match fixing. He is a clean, honest, God-fearing player. I just thought that it's only right for me to come and tell you guys that, because I spoke about it when the initial allegations were made. So best of luck to Obasogie for the rest of the season. And it just begs the question, why would his team come and make a statement like that before actually doing their investigation? Because now you've publicized something very negative about your player, then come out a week and a half later to say, well, he didn't actually do this thing that we put out there that he might have done. And I just think that the club was very, very wrong to put out that statement before carrying out any investigation. You know, it's unfortunate, because now when you search his name, you will surely see the initial allegation, and you might not see that he was cleared of all wrongdoing. So I think it was very, very wrong from his club. But yeah, Obasogie did not commit any match fraud, match manipulation, match fixing, whatever you call it. I hope we all know that one now. Okay, let us move forward. The Super Eagles of Nigeria. Let's get into the national team. The Super Eagles of Nigeria. So the news that reached us, well, I say reached us like was some exclusive news. The news that circulated is that the 4 nation tournaments that the Super Eagles are supposed to be taking part in has now been moved to Antalya in Turkey amid the ongoing fighting in the Middle East. I use the word fighting, I don't, but it's more than just a regular fight. But yes, the match has been moved to Antalya in Turkey, announced by the Jordan Football Association. Of course, the Super Eagles are supposed to play against Jordan and Iran in this March international break. So we'll wait to see if there's any further development. But for now, we've heard that that match has been moved to Antalya in Turkey, so that our players are not put in the line of fire, because God forbid they try to take our players to where they are fighting. God forbid. So yes, that match has been moved to, or the matches have been moved to Antalya in Turkey. We have to wait and see how it all pans out. But that is the statement from the Jordan Football Association. Some people might have been wondering about that. And still on the Super Eagles of Nigeria, let us get into it. FIFA, what are they doing? What are they not doing? What are they doing? What are they not doing? While everybody has been waiting for the FIFA decision on this petition that the NFF raised against the Federation of the Republic of Congo, FIFA came out not with a decision on what we were thinking, but they came out with sanctions for both the Nigerian Football Federation and the DR Congo Football Federation over disciplinary incidents that occurred during the World Cup playoffs on November 16th. Nigeria was fined 1,000 Swiss francs for fans throwing objects on the field during the game, while DR Congo were fined 5,000 Swiss francs for the use of laser pointers by their supporters. So that is the sanction that was levied on Nigeria, and of course, sanction levied on the Democratic Republic of Congo by FIFA. Now, the main, what does this sanction mean for the main one that we are waiting for? Their decision. It's tough to say exactly, but what I sense is that we are closer than ever to the decision being made. If they are able to bring up disciplinary action for that match that the petition was raised after, it means that in their process, they have reviewed, or they are now reviewing, games that took place during that international window. They are reviewing games that took place during that international window. The petition was raised for a game that took place during that international window. Of course, we know that the international break is coming up, and the qualifying playoffs for the World Cup are supposed to take place during this March international window. So if FIFA is going to say something, now is the time for them to say something. So that everybody knows Nigeria, DR Congo, Jamaica, New Caledonia, I forget the last country that is taking part in it, so that everyone knows who they are going to face, who they are not going to face. Is the time for FIFA to say something. The playoff first match is scheduled for the 25th of March. So what? We are just over a week away from that game. I think FIFA have started to review this situation. Of course, when they come to a decision, they will first inform the federations before it is published to the rest of the world. I strongly believe that whoever it goes in their favor will be very keen to let us know that a decision has been reached. If it goes in Nigeria's favor, the NFF will not waste time to tell us so that they can be proud of themselves, because, you know, they'll be looking for a way to add it as a feather to their cap. If the decision goes in Nigeria's favor, the NFF will come out and tell us FIFA has agreed that DR Congo committed this fraud and we are the ones going to the playoffs. If it goes in DR Congo's favor, DR Congo will be quick to come and shame Nigeria and say, look, you're trying to get into the back door. You did not get it. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this decision plays out. Look, I've said it many times. I personally felt like, why are we trying to go to the back door? But at the end of the day, you know, you kind of have to take advantage of every opportunity that you see. If truly DR Congo committed these offenses, then by the letter of the law, in fairness, they should be punished. So FIFA just needs to come out and tell us what it is. Like, just tell us what it is, man. Just tell us who is going. I personally already removed my mind from it. And I tell you, the reason I removed my mind from it is because, you know, saying now hope they pain. Now hope they really pain. When you believe that something is possible and then that thing does not happen, that's when you feel more pain than if you're just taking your mind off of something and then it happens. So for me right now, it's like, if FIFA announced in Nigeria's favor, I'll just be excited, even though I will not be able to attend because I've not, by now I suppose, don't already plan for America. But I could not plan because I don't think, I thought we were already out of it. But I don't want to have all this belief and all this hope for my hope to be dashed in the last minute. Regardless, do Nigeria have a case? Yes, Nigeria has a case. It's all about if we can prove it or if DR Congo can prove otherwise. There's definitely a case. It's a serious one. FIFA seemed to have started reviewing the fixtures that took place in the November international break. So we should hopefully get a decision soon. And if FIFA knows what they are doing, it shouldn't come late. It should be any time now. There's also the fear that FIFA might delay the decision until a time where it is kind of irreversible and they cannot go back and reinstate Nigeria. There's a fear that that might happen because some people feel like if DR Congo have been committing this offense over the course of the qualifiers, why should Nigeria be the one to benefit? Of course, I'm not 100%, knowledgeable of the FIFA statutes and how everything works. I know that if they make a decision now, it's the last opponents that benefits, and some people don't think that Nigeria should be the ones that benefit because DR Congo knocks some other people along the way. So there's also that fear that FIFA might delay the decision until it gets to the point where it is too late and they cannot reinstate Nigeria. Because if DR Congo have played against Jamaica or New Caledonia and they've beaten Jamaica or New Caledonia, even if FIFA should then disqualify DR Congo, it is Jamaica or New Caledonia that will take their spot, not Nigeria. Because at that point, they'll be the last guys at the beat. So I think it's a very tricky one. It's a very tricky one. Because DR Congo cannot end up beating Jamaica, New Caledonia, and then they'll now say Nigeria should go to the World Cup. Because Jamaica or New Caledonia would argue that what if we could have beaten Nigeria if we faced them? They can argue that. So it's a very tricky one. FIFA have delayed I personally think that FIFA don't want to have to make a controversial decision. I personally think so, and that is why they might not say something until it is too late to disqualify or to reinstate Nigeria. I, in all honesty, that's what I feel like most people would do in this situation. Just delay it so that you don't have to make a controversial decision. Because no doubt, if they reinstate Nigeria, it will be controversial. If they do, it will be controversial. And it will be a reference for any future cases that pop up. Whenever something like this happens in the future, people will reference, remember what you did for Nigeria in 2026? That's what you're supposed to do again. So I honestly think that FIFA are being intentionally, sluggish. And I think that is what they might feel is in their best interest. But we wait and see. If March 25th comes and no decision has been made, then we can probably just bow our heads and say, okay, it's done for us. Even if they eventually rule in our favor, the World Cup might be done for us. But we wait and see exactly what happens. For now, the sanctions that have been levied against us is for indiscipline by some members of the crowd. But yes, but don't you see that DR Congo shot themselves in the foot by not including some of those players involved in the saga? That looks like a sign of guilt. Well, you can say it's a sign of guilt. You can say it's also just a precautionary measure. You can say it's a sign of guilt. You can say it's a precautionary measure. If you've accused me of doing something, maybe I don't do that thing in the next game because, okay, let's just be careful, So, I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Some people can look at it as a sign of guilt. Some people can say it's a precautionary measure. But yeah, it's a tricky one. We saw the 3 pages that were published from that report. Shout out to Osasu Obiwana, if I pronounced his last name properly. He's the one that published the report, and there were 17 different players that Nigeria claimed that they played their debut match for DRC, and they are affected by the complaint about the nationality. Mpasi, who is of French citizenship, Wan-Bissaka of British, Twanzebe British, Maswaku French, Mutusami French, Mukau Belgian, Sadiki Belgian, Mbuku French, Bakambu French, Fayulu Swiss, Apollo Belgian, Kayembe Belgian, Kayembe again, another one, Belgian, Kapwadi French, Kalulu French, Balquisha Belgian, and Stroikens also Belgian. So it's against many different players. So it's a very, very tricky one. It's a very, very tricky one. But something, again, I don't have full knowledge of everything that goes into the decision making here. But I tried to contact one of my friends, not a football player, just a friend. But he's a friend that was born and raised in Cameroon. Born and raised in Cameroon. And then he's now a Canadian citizen. So I asked him, with your country not allowing dual citizenship, Cameroon as well, that when he became a Canadian citizen, was there somebody that reached out to him and informed him, that he has to give up his Cameroonian citizenship? How did the process work? And what he said was, when he became a Canadian citizen, he still had his Cameroonian passport and he could keep his Cameroonian passport. But at the moment he lands back in Cameroon, it will immediately be flagged and it will be revoked the moment he returns to Cameroon. That at the airport, they will check your status, and if they see that you're a citizen of a different country, then they will revoke your second citizenship. However, he said that in his country, they bend the rules for certain people that are representing the country on a global or international stage. And football is one of the cases where his country bends the rules for people like Mbuemo, so that they can play for Cameroon and still keep their other citizenship. People like Samuel Eto'o, so that they can play for Cameroon and still keep their other citizenship. So this is what my Cameroonian friend explained to me about how it works in his country. I don't know exactly how it works in DR Congo. I have a Congolese friend, but she could not give me many answers. So do DR Congo bend the rules and Did they not commit fraud? Did they submit the right documents to FIFA, even though they are bending their own rules? Who knows? Or did they deceive FIFA? Did they deceive FIFA? We have to wait and see. But we're really hoping that we get a decision as soon as possible. Charles says, I am hearing that DR Congo players are struggling to get visa for their players. Does that mean that the players will not proceed without the verdicts? Charles, I'm not exactly sure what you mean, because I think you made a typo. If you can just type that question again. You are saying that the DR Congo players were not able to get their visas. Does that mean that they will not proceed without the verdict? Because getting a visa does not depend on the verdicts by FIFA. Like, they can still apply for visas to wherever they need to travel to. So I'm not sure I fully understand. But yeah. No verdict officially on the petition raised by the NFF against DR Congo, but 2 relatively small sanctions against both Nigeria and DR Congo. Okay, I think that's that on that case. Let us move forward very, very quickly. 2 more topics to discuss, and I'll open the floor for people that might want to come and chip in their 1 or 2 cents to the show. Okay, Charles says that they will not proceed travel without the verdicts coming out. Again, like I said, I don't know how the verdict affects them getting visas. But I don't know. It's tricky, man. It's tricky. Let's just wait and see what happens, really, because all the speculation, everything, has just been quite confusing. Victor Kobam says DRC law prohibits dual citizenship. It is tried law that parties by consent or practice cannot legalize what's prohibited by law, meaning even if the authorities allow duality, it is still illegal. So again, Victor Kobam, like what I just explained, DR Congo is not the only country that prohibits dual citizenship, but some countries bend the rules, and based on FIFA's nationality rules, if your country has bent the rule and has given you citizenship, as long as they submitted the rights documentation, then it's not FIFA's business if the country bends the rule or not. That's not illegal with FIFA, as long as the documentation was submitted properly as of when everything had been officially completed. Then I don't think that's illegal to FIFA, at least. You might say, oh, it's legal in general for them to do it, but if the country processed everything properly and allowed them, then the country allowed them. The case is not simply, and I think maybe this is something that people have been getting wrong. The case is not simply your country doesn't allow dual citizenship. You have dual citizenship, so you could not have played. That's not what the case is. The case is about how the documents were submitted to FIFA and how everything was presented, if they were honest and they submitted everything as of when due. So again, if it's just illegally obtained, irregular, or incompatible, so exactly, people are saying that they forged documents. Again, if it was a matter of forged documents, then that's a different case. But if it is a case of genuine documents that just go against your country's own national law, exceptions are made all the time for people in different countries, different things. Exceptions are made all the time. All the time, exceptions are made. And what the NFF raised as violations, they did mention principle of single nationality representation, but they said acquisition of new nationality, documentation of integrity requirements, violations of the code. They listed forgery and falsification, fraud and misrepresentation. So there's forgery, there's misrepresentation, there's fraud, all listed there. It is not simply a case of, oh, you should not have dual citizenship, but you have it. Is the forgery, is the fraud, is the misrepresentation. Did DR Congo make it seem as if they only had Did DR Congo won when they still kept the other one? These are the underlying questions. Did they pretend as if they had revoked their other one to acquire this one? Or did they present it up front that, oh, they still have this other one, but we are also giving them this one? These are the questions that need to be answered. And you mentioned people like Tobias Lawal. See, Victor Kobam, don't worry, again, you have your opinion. But when you mention cases of like Aisbu and Tobias Lawal, the difference is that their other country is not the one that they're trying to switch to. They are trying to switch to Nigeria, and their other country will not give them this exception. So, unfortunately, they can't do it. If they were Nigerian and Austria was the one calling them, and Austria decided to give them the exception, as long as everything was presented honestly, then they might have been able to do it. But again, they're trying to leave Austria to play for Nigeria, and Austria will not grant them an exception. Then, unfortunately, they can't get the exception. But look, if you feel like it is just because, it's this thing, like Victor Kobam here is not relenting, is not trying to understand, he's just repeating the same thing. I'm taking his comments because he's a he's a member of the channel, so I'm responding to him. But Victor Kobam, if you simply think that that's the case, then that's how you feel about it. I interpret it a bit differently based on the documents that I've read. But we wait to see what FIFA decides. Okay, let's move on. Let's talk about Daniel Daga. Daniel Daga, in case you haven't heard, sentenced to 6 months in prison in Norway. The decision is being appealed by his legal team. And of course, this sentence is for allegations of sexual misconduct against an unconsenting individual. Daniel Daga and his team are saying that, yes, a sexual act did occur between him and this woman in question, but that the sexual relationship was completely consensual, whereas the lady is saying that there was no consent. So I already did a video on this. I'm not going to go too deep into this. If you want to hear my full thoughts and my advice and everything, go and watch the video after this podcast, where you can see my thoughts on the Daniel Daga situation and the effects on his career. But I wanted to talk about it today because in the comments of my video, there were some people that were disagreeing with me. In fact, one person even came very aggressively, very insulting, was calling me all sorts of names. And I felt like it's so interesting. My general thoughts are, I'm sad for the player. I hope that the player is able to find a way out of it. But I said this in my video, and I will say it again here today. If he did what he is accused of doing, again, if he did what he is accused of doing, then he deserves to be punished for it. Some people said, oh, why am I not supporting a fellow Nigerian? Oh, why am I wishing him bad? I'm not wishing him bad. I hope he did not do it. And I hope that if he did not do it, he doesn't have to self-punishment for something that he did not do. But I say, if he did what he is accused of doing, then he deserves to be punished for it. I'm not going to come here and say because he's a footballer that if he did in fact commit a crime, he should get away with it. No. And that is not a small case. I don't know exactly what he did, but any kind of sexual abuse, assault, it's not a small thing. And again, if he did it, then he deserves to be punished for it. Now, I pray he didn't do it. Unfortunately, he put himself in a compromising situation. But I don't know why people think that is such a bad thing to say. That if somebody committed sexual assault, then the person should be punished for it. I don't know why some people think that that's such a bad thing to say. I don't know how you guys feel about it. But it's unfortunate. It's sad for a young player with a budding future ahead of him. Has he allowed 10 minutes to ruin what could have been 20 years of bliss? Maybe it was even less than 10 minutes. Who knows? It's unfortunate, but like I said, if he did it, he deserves to be punished. If he did not do it, I pray that justice is served in the right direction and he is not having to lose his career lose his name, lose his reputation, and of course lose time because of a false accusation. So yes, that's that on the Daga situation. I don't know what you guys feel. You can of course leave your comments on the situation, or you can call in and actually share your thoughts on the situation as well once the lines are opened. And speaking of calling in, I'm going to post the link now for anybody that would like to join the show today to share their thoughts on anything that we have discussed. I'm going to post the link now. Please make sure that you have good lighting, make sure that you are well dressed, and you have your mic and camera on so that we can see you and hear from you properly. The link has been posted on YouTube. The link has been pinned. So yes, if you want to join the show, make sure that you click that link and I can bring you on. But before I do that, I wanted to talk about one more thing. A video went viral of Alex Iwobi talking about several things, but the video that went viral was where he spoke about the NFF and what it is like being part of the Nigeria setup.
Playing for England and playing for Nigeria themselves are very different. England's a bit more strict. In St. George's Park or you're in a hotel, no one's allowed to come in. Strict food, strict regime. That's it. Nigeria now, you I have to watch what I say. Sometimes your flight's not booked properly. You have to book your own flight. You get there now. Sometimes the people at the airport, they're not ready to pick you up. So you sometimes have to make your own way. The hotels, they're okay. Sometimes the light goes. Sometimes you don't have anywhere to charge your phone. England, no one's allowed in the hotel. Right. Nigeria, people can come in the room whenever you want. My uncle and my dad said just at least try once with Nigeria. So I tried under 23s just to see, and then I can compare what I prefer.
And it worked for you? It
took a lot of convincing at the time because of, like I said, under 23s, you have to book your own flight. The pitch that we were training on, there will be half grass, half astroturf, and maybe a bit of sand on the side. The coaches were strict in the sense, if you mess up a pass, it's not just like you're getting told off in the air. You have to do a lap around the pitch. It took a lot of convincing. I have no regrets. I did love England. I feel like because I grew up in a Nigerian household, Nigeria has always been a part of me.
Oh, my apologies. So yes, that was Alex Iwobi talking about the NFF, talking about, everything that goes on, being part of the Super Eagles camp, being part of the Nigeria setup. And you could see him at the start of the video when he said, and for Nigeria, and then he chuckled a little bit because in his mind, he's like, where do I even start from? But then he touched on a couple of things, and all of these things just expose the bad communication, the bad organization, the mismanagement, and every bad thing that goes on with the NFF. Talked about sometimes your flight is not booked properly. And we've seen it different times with different players, where they are rushing to catch a flight. I remember like somebody like Alassane Yusuf that's coming from the USA. Sometimes we'll have to travel to Turkey, then wait in Turkey for God knows how many hours before traveling to Nigeria. Things like that. We've seen players that they're connecting flights. There's not enough time between their connecting flight and their initial flight, or there's simply too much time between their initial flight and their connecting flight that they're having to sleep in the airport pretty much. We see it with the Super Falcons as well. We see Super Falcons players that they arrive in a country that they're supposed to play a game. They arrive there on the day of the match or the night before the match. We've seen it several times. The NFF, we've called them out many times. We've spoken about how they need to do better, but does anything change? I'm happy Alex Iwobi made these comments. No one to pick you up at the airport. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Actually arriving for international duty and nobody's there to pick you up. Talking about people just entering their rooms anyhow. We've spoken about this. There needs to be more organization. We see it. Comedians, skit makers, girls just entering the players' rooms. Just terrible. There's camp coordinator, but all this nonsense just keeps on happening. I wonder how the NFF will react to this. Can they blacklist Iwobi? No, they can't. So how would they react to this? When players pick up sometimes, they tell the players to delete it. Sometimes they try to make players to apologize. Let's see what happens here. Completely shameful, completely shameful. And I'm happy that Alex Iwobi said this. I'm happy that the video went viral. NFF, sometimes they don't act unless they get shamed. They don't act unless they get shamed. Well, it looks like we have only one caller for today. So let me just take him very, very quickly and we'll wrap up this episode of the Nigeria FC Podcast. Welcome. Sean, welcome.
Hello, IoT. Good morning.
Yes, good morning. Good evening.
How are you doing? Can you hear me?
I'm well. Yes, go on.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go on. He's not available. Just go on quickly.
Solo today.
Yes.
Okay. First of all, about the Alex Iwobi story. I've done blacklisting and then to do. But then intend to apologize. I mean, so because this is what they do. What should that country not to play? So they are shopper. Go and take them at the airport. Watch it on YouTube. Don't edit on YouTube. They should be doing this. Change their way of doing things. Second about Daga. Daga, I've killed his career because I don't seem to have it because we do what we do it. Career is done. So that's about that. About the Congo issue. For me, I want to be able to sit on the fence. I'm tired of this today Congo no story anymore. Try to come and tell what they want to do. Tell us know what's going on. Time is going and they can name this. And so all the people is at the level. Finally, I'm Victor Osimhen. But maybe it's better than Turkey. I'm sorry. I watched the game on Saturday. That boy is very, very, very straight goal. That boy I went in the time and go be singing for me. So anyway, well done on your work. And I like what they're doing. Continue. God bless you, my brother.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate your comments. Always joining, always talking. Seems like most people are camera shy today. Some of our usual callers are not calling in, but I'm not going to hold you to it. If Sheung is the only person that we have today, that is completely fine. That is completely fine. I have a super chat comment here. Charles says, I think it's high time that we need to fight for these players. It's so sad that this NFF plays so much with our players' welfare and development. Very, very true. And somebody here says that some of these players allowed people in, and that's not wrong. That's not wrong. Some of the time, a lot of the time, the players allow these people in. A lot of the time. Before, I've seen on the morning of games where a player's family is coming to the inside his hotel room on the morning of a match. So the players are part of it. But again, an organization, look, if you run your organization as a low-level organization, people are not going to come in and all of a sudden just start performing at a high level. They will come and meet you where you are. When the NFF puts strict restrictions, manages things properly, doesn't allow any howness will not happen. So ultimately, they need to run the organization more professionally, with more seriousness, get a dedicated hospitality team so that everything is organized properly when the players come in. You know, the camp coordinator has to be very strict punishments when players violate any of these rules. And these things will not occur, or at least will not occur as much. There would always be offenders, but offenders will be less when there's actually a system of discipline in place. When there are rules in place, offenders will be less. And if somebody offends and the person gets punished for it, they cannot query that decision because you know that the person flouted or violated the rules. But if there are no rules, it's a lawless society. Anybody will do as they wish. Anybody will do as they wish if it's a lawless society. So at the end of the day, it comes down to the organization. They need to prevent these things from happening. And on a final note, before I wrap up today's episode, I'm just going to quickly show you guys, because man, I have another episode of the Home of Nigerian Football Podcast. Another episode of the Home of Nigerian Football Podcast is coming out this week that we are in right now. The episode will be out before the end of the week on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, and of course on our YouTube channel. It is an exclusive interview with former Super Eagles midfielder Sani Kaita. Here's the trailer.
I had a red card. Is this something I regret? No. No one get it easy, and everyone have its own story. I was dropped before we traveled to the tournament, and everyone knew that I deserved to be there. With the Nigerian national team, I remember I got some guys that we get on really well with each other, including Obina and Sopo. There was top names there. Coach was there, and you can see the technical ability Mikel got at the time is top notch. He knew where I was. I can always find him. That was the connection we had. I see myself doing nothing apart from football. When I look at my silver medal today, I see nothing but gold medal. That tournament, there wasn't any time that Messi, he was at his best. He terrorized people on the pitch. So we managed to keep him quiet. There are some fans who really love football and they have a personal hatred towards certain players. That need to stop.
How did you cope though? Because from a mental point of view, it could not have been easy. How did you cope?
I said.
So yes, Sani Kaita, under 20 silver medalists, Olympics silver medalist, two-time AFCON bronze medalist, and of course, one of the most hated Nigerians in 2010 after getting a red card against Greece at the 2010 FIFA World Cup. I asked him about his journey, and we spoke in depth about that red card against Greece and how it's potentially affected his Super Eagles career. We spoke about the threats, the negativity that he got from Nigerian fans and the media after getting that red card. And we spoke about what he's doing now, life after football. We spoke about some of his teammates like John Obi Mikel. We spoke about some of his opponents like Lionel Messi. And so much more. The Home of Nigerian Football Podcast exclusive interview with Sani Kaita is going to be out on Friday, March 20th. So watch out for that one on our YouTube channel or on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast. Preferably watch it on YouTube so that you can get the full video in high quality and enjoy it. And of course, we'll post clips here and there on our social media page. So that is one to look forward to. And then there's going to be more interviews coming out over the course of the next weeks and months as well. I hope you guys are going to watch that one for me. My last interview, if you haven't watched it, was with Juwon Oshaniwa. You can check that one out before this next one comes out. The Juwon Oshaniwa interview was a nice conversation as well. I believe as of today, we now have about 10,500 views on the Juwon Oshaniwa interview on YouTube. We have some views on Spotify and Apple Podcasts as well. But if you haven't watched the Juwon Oshaniwa interview, check it out. And of course, make sure that you check out the Sani Kaita interview because it is explosive, it is revealing, it is very educative, very inspiring, and it shows you a different side of the man, Sani Kaita, a man who doesn't speak a lot in public. So I have to thank him. I have to thank him for speaking to me. I'm sure that you guys would enjoy it. I'll play the trailer one more time before we wrap up for today.
I had a red card. Is this something I regret? No. No one get it easy, and everyone have its own story. I was dropped before we traveled to the tournament, and everyone knew that I deserved to be there. With the Nigerian national team, I remember I got some guys that we get on really well with each other, including Obina and Sopo. There was top names there. Coach was there, and you can see the technical ability Mikel got at the time is top notch. He knew where I was. I can always find him. That was the connection we had. I see myself doing nothing apart from football. When I look at my silver medal today, I see nothing but gold medal. That tournament, there wasn't any time that Messi, he was at his best. He terrorized people on the pitch. So we managed to keep him quiet. There are some fans who really love football and they have a personal hatred towards certain players. That need to stop.
How did you cope though? Because from a mental point of view, it could not have been easy. How did you cope?
I said,
yes, exclusive interview with Sani Kaita on Friday, March 20th. And that is it for me. That is it for the Nigeria FC Podcast. Today's episode. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you to everyone that engaged with us. Thank you to Charles for the super chats. If you are watching on demand, you can still support with a super chat or a super sticker or a super thanks. And if you are new here, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you enjoy all the contents that we have, including the podcast, this podcast, including the interview podcast, and other videos that we drop on a regular basis. If you are yet to hit the like button, do me a favor and make sure that you hit the like button now. This is your final chance. It costs you absolutely nothing. So please hit the like button. And yes, it's been a pleasure, man. My name is Ayoti. This has been the Nigeria FC Podcast on Eagle Striker, the home of Nigerian football. I hope you guys enjoyed it, man. Thank you very much. And I will see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.